I have a confession to make. Up until last year, I just did not understand the concept of audiobooks at all. And of course, I have to caveat that for the visually impaired, audiobooks do make sense, but for everyone else, it just felt a bit like cheating. You know, why not just go out and read a proper book? But rewind to last year's Black Friday and Amazon was doing some kind of ridiculous deal for Audible, its audiobook service, where I think it was like 3 months for 99p, and I figured, well, at that price, how bad could it be? So yeah, I took a punt on it, and yeah, I'm obsessed with it now. I will gladly admit that I was talking out of my arse, and now I spend just as much time listening to audiobooks as I do reading physical books. So off the back of that, I thought it would be fun to compare the two mediums, look at the pros and cons, so that for anyone who might be a bit skeptical of audiobooks like I was, can get a bit of a better idea as to what they're all about, really. I'm going to break it down to 5 key points. Starting with number 1, it is a hell of a lot easier to get through audiobooks, particularly if you don't like reading. I'm one of those people who struggles to find time to actually sit down and read a book, and even when I do so, I'm just distracted by everything else around me, whether it's the TV or games consoles or whatever else. There's just too many distractions out there vying for my attention. What this means is that unless I'm in a situation where all of these distractions are removed, I just find it really hard to settle down. With audiobooks, on the other hand, you can just pop in some headphones or earbuds and listen to whatever story you want while you're getting on with other things. So for instance, I might listen to an audiobook whilst doing the cooking or the cleaning, and before you know it, you'll make your way through an entire book in next to no time. This has just been a huge help for me to get through my TBR list, and if you're like me and you struggle to actually sit down and read a proper book, then yeah, audiobooks might be the way to go. Number 2, audiobooks are perfect for autobiographies. I think that even the most well-read person will admit that memoirs and celebrity autobiographies are just a great guilty pleasure. Sure, they might not have the finesse of a novel, but they're still filled with entertaining stories nonetheless, and they can always just be a great source of gossip. And as great as these books are to read, they're just so much better if you hear them in the voice of the person in question. Take Windswept and Interesting as an example. Billy Connolly's autobiography is filled with fantastic stories that are just absolutely hilarious, but hearing them in his voice with his comedic timing just makes the whole thing so much better. In fact, I enjoyed it so much that upon finishing the audiobook, I just went straight back to the beginning for another listen. So yeah, if anything, this is just me telling you to read or listen to Windswept and Interesting. Okay, number 3. Trying to find quotes and highlight passages is just a heck of a lot easier in a proper book. Admittedly, this point makes more sense if you're comparing audiobooks to ebooks, but through a Kindle or even the Kindle app, it's just so easy to highlight passages or look for a specific quote that you're after, which can be really helpful for research or coursework. All you have to do is use the search tool, and just by remembering a few words from the passage you want, it'll take you straight there. And of course, if you highlight something, you can always come back to it instantly as it'll be listed under your highlighted sections. Super easy, super helpful. Audiobooks, on the other hand, haven't quite figured out a way around this. Because audiobooks in Audible aren't transcribed, there's just no way of searching for a specific passage through a simple text search. I imagine it might be somewhat difficult to implement, but if Audible had something like Spotify Lyrics, where you could see what is being said as you hear it, then that would just be so much more helpful. You can highlight sections within an audiobook, but without any sort of transcription or text to go along with it, you can often overlap into other sentences, which is just makes the whole thing such a faff, really. Overall, it's just a lot easier on the Kindle or the Kindle app. Number 4. Audiobooks miss out on supplementary material sometimes. You know how in the middle of a book you might have a couple of pages with images or photographs that relate to the text? Yeah, good luck finding that in an audiobook. Now, there are some audiobooks that get around this. Tom Segura's book, I'd Like to Play Alone Please, includes a PDF file with the audiobook, so you'll still get a chance to see all of those bits of documents that you would otherwise get with the physical version of the book. And as great as that is to see, it isn't the norm yet, so for the most part you will miss out on supplementary material. I guess the one trade-off here is that some audiobooks tend to have their own exclusive bits of content. Take David Goggins' self-help book Can't Hurt Me as an example. In between its chapters, the book features something like a audiobook slash radio conversation, if you will, between David Goggins and the book's writer Adam Skolnick, where they add extra context to the stuff that you'll read in the chapters and even throw in a couple of stories that readers of the physical book would just miss out on completely. It's a tricky thing to gauge because it does vary wildly from audiobook to audiobook, so if you are the type of person who's obsessed with supplementary material, then yeah, you might want to prioritize physical books here. And finally, at number 5, books tend to be more cost effective, but it's not a concrete rule. At the time of this video, Audible costs $7.99 a month, and that gives you access to one token that can then be exchanged for an audiobook. But if you finish said audiobook before the month is out, then you can buy another token for another £7.99. Compare that with Kindle books that can sometimes be as low as 99p and just any secondhand paperbacks that you might get down the charity shop. And yes, audiobooks probably will cost you more over time. However, it's a bit different if you're buying a brand new paperback or a hardback, the latter of which can sometimes cost around £25. So yes, if you're comparing it to that, then audiobooks are a bit more cost effective. So there isn't a definitive answer on price, but I do think that audiobooks are a great alternative to those who just don't really get along with physical books, or even for avid readers out there who just want to squeeze as much time out of the day to get through as many books as possible. And certainly for myself, audiobooks have just really helped me to get through more books in general. I hope this video has been informative to some folks, but if you think I've missed anything in this great debate between audiobooks versus books, then let me know in the comments below. And while you're here, why not hit that subscribe button or even the like button? Either way, thank you for watching.